Inca children had to start working before the age of 6. Inca parenting was somewhat extreme. Mothers delivered babies without outside help. The newborn baby would be immediately washed. The mother used cold water from a nearby stream. For the first year of their lives, Inca babies went nameless. Incas had no playpens, of course, but Inca women were expected to do household chores. So the baby would be placed in a hole in the ground. This prevented it from crawling away. Babies were rarely held. However, they were breastfed for the first year. Soon after being born, they were strapped onto a board. It was similar to the native North American papoose. Babies were kept tied to the board for most of the day. When the baby turned 1, a celebration was held. A grandfather or uncle would cut the first lock of the baby's hair. Guests would bring gifts for the family. The baby would be given a temporary name. All children were expected to work by the age of 6. They began by helping with household chores. They also gathered fruit and nuts alongside their mothers. One of the first things girls learned was weaving. Boys began by learning about their future jobs. Laziness was punished, and play always came second to hard work. Few Inca children attended school. Formal schooling was mostly reserved for the nobility. Permanent names were given at the time of puberty. The coming-of-age ceremony was different for girls and boys. A girl would fast for 3 days in advance. Then she would bathe and dress in nice clothes. Her family and friends gathered to congratulate her. The celebration for boys was much larger. It was usually held in December and lasted for several weeks. There were banquets, dancing, and tests of endurance and strength. During this celebration, the boys received their first weapons. At this time, they were also required to make a pilgrimage. All Inca boys traveled to the sacred mountain of Wanakari. On Wanakari, they'd sacrifice a llama in honor of the gods. Noble boys would have their ears pierced. As they grew older, their earlobes would stretch. Eventually, they would wear large golden ear plugs. The ear plugs could be as large as 3 inches in diameter. Inca men usually married around the age of 25. They took wives aged between 16 to 20. Some marriages were prearranged, but even those that weren't had to be approved. The local chief was the ultimate authority. A married Inca couple would live in a one-room house. It was built by their clan, or Ilu. Once a man was married, he became a taxpayer. He was given a piece of land to raise his own crops. For each child, the couple would get more land, half an acre for a girl and 1 or 2 acres for a boy. Inca nobles were allowed to have multiple wives. A man could be called to war. Widows didn't have to marry again. They were allowed to keep the family land allotment. The widow's Ilu would help her plant and harvest. Disabled and elderly people didn't have to work. However, very few Incas lived past the age of 50. Those who did were highly respected, so they were given appropriate work.